Sometimes you just want what you want. Here we go. I'm a fucking white bitch. 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 I'm a fucking white bitch.
Oh, that's okay.
Hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of IPN's Movie Night. I'm Carter Thomas.
I'm Alexander Pacillas. I just realized we didn't introduce ourselves in the other episode.
Yeah, the Sunshine episode lacked some introduction, but you're only listening to this if you watch us on YouTube. Well, if not, cool. But if you are, you know who we are.
Yeah.
I hope.
Alexander Pacillas.
Yeah, and Carter Thomas. It's just us again today for a movie night.
It may be because this is Carter's turn to present a movie.
Yes, I brought a film today.
Yeah, so it might if we bring a movie, it might just be us two because we can't get anybody else to come here unless they present a movie.
Correct. So
what movie did you bring?
Jumping
what movie did you bring,
I'm jumping
Carter?
in. I've had thoughts about this movie for a long time. I chose 2009's Miss March. The kind of an infamous film.
I would say 5% on Rotten Tomatoes infamous.
I would say yes, very infamous. Very infamous.
So Carter Thomas.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your history with this movie. History with this movie.
Don't worry.
And like when you first watched it and like whatever your memory of it, and a synopsis.
Well, okay, so quick synopsis. Eugene Bell, played by Zach Kreger, and Tucker Clay, played by Trevor Moore, are two friends in high school, and Eugene is dating, has a girlfriend for like 2 years, and they agree to have sex on prom night, but through some wacky events, Eugene falls into a coma for 4 years, wakes up, his girlfriend is now in Playboy, and she's Miss March, and he and Tucker go on a road trip to the Playboy Mansion to basically so Eugene can just yell at her.
Yeah, well, that's what happens.
He wants to find her.
What's
basically.
funny is that it's like there really isn't like a reason for them to go there because it like Eugene just to go to find her.
Yeah,
that's really all that's really given, and then Tucker is like
just an idiot.
He just wants to go to the Playboy Mansion, which he's doing it like so he can find. Oh my God, what is her name? What is the girlfriend's name?
Cindy.
Why did I fucking forget?
I don't know, but yeah, that's one, and that's a big problem with the movie. But we'll get to that. So
we'll get to that.
So Zach Kreger and Trevor Moore are 2/5 of the comedy troupe The Whitest Kids You Know, and they had a show on IFC from 2007 to 2012,
which is we're both huge fans of.
Yeah, but I remember when this movie came out because I remember seeing
too.
commercials for it, but I didn't know Whitest Kids then.
Oh, really?
And so then when I got into Whitest Kids, I was just always like, oh, why do these two guys look vaguely familiar?
Yeah.
And then I would do research, and I was like, oh, they did Miss March, and then I saw how poorly it did, and I was like in 8th grade when I rented it off iTunes for the first time, and boy, let me tell you, I did not enjoy that movie then.
Really?
No, I didn't.
Wait, do you not enjoy this movie now?
I like this movie better now. Funny enough. Usually it's the opposite.
Really? Yeah.
Here's the thing. This movie isn't. I'm not going to defend this movie. This movie isn't good by most means.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But 5% on Rotten Tomatoes after watching it is very harsh. I think the audience score, which was like a 30, a little too generous.
I think Manos: The Hands of Fate has a better score than
which
this
is
movie,
sad.
Which is insane. Yeah.
Because I think. Well, I have listened to a lot of podcasts with Zach and Trevor. Specifically, You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes. Zach's episode is from 2012. Trevor's is like the year after that. You have some digging to do, but I highly recommend listening to them. They're very insightful.
Yeah.
But so I guess just some context. The script was already written. It was a Fox Searchlight
Mm-hmm.
script, and the Whitest Kids had just finished their first season when they were given the opportunity to like do this movie. So they gave it to Zach and Trevor, and Zach and Trevor have gone on record in saying that they hate sex comedy road trip movies. To which I ask, then why would you make one? So they were given the script, and basically they just wanted to rewrite it as an exercise. And
Which they still kind of do that to this day, don't they? Like kind of like they
well, here they write, because I've had the opportunity to watch most of the Whitest Kids read other scripts that they've written at the Pack Theater on Santa Monica Boulevard. Check it out.
Yeah, I pass by it every day.
So, and the one movie that they read was about the end of the world. So a very very different plot, which was pretty funny. It's pretty good. And then another one is when they go to Mars. So they're not dealing with sex road trip.
Yeah, they have
topics.
bigger ideas.
Yeah, they do.
So that is so it's really like they picked up this script. Like they didn't initially come up with this.
No,
idea.
They didn't come up with the idea at all. The script, because all the story credits. Because the story credits are completely different people. It's like 3 different people.
That makes
And
I noticed that on IMDb. That makes so much sense.
And
I didn't know that.
So and then they're also in pre-production of the season 2 of Whitest Kids. And if anyone has watched all the seasons of Whitest Kids, you know that
season 2 sucks.
Season 1 is a lot of stuff that they made like on camcorders before they I don't think they really knew how to direct a movie yet.
Yeah, season 1 was very, very sketch comedy. It was like, and I think it started off on Fuse first, right? I remember watching. See, that's the thing. I remember watching Whitest Kids, from the first season. I watched this before I saw Miss March. Is why I saw that movie.
Yeah.
And I remember it being on Fuse, and it looked like sitcom cameras, like very kind of higher frame rate, very flowy a little bit. And then they moved to IFC, and it's like their budget just shot up.
Yeah.
However, I remember watching. I'm like, this season isn't very good in comparison.
Yeah. Season 3 is when it starts getting good.
Yes.
And unfortunately, seasons 4 and 5 aren't anywhere on DVD. But they all used to be on iTunes, and that's how I watched them, because I would just like get all the episodes. And so that's kind of like 2 people who were chosen to write and direct a movie who just kind of, I feel like, didn't know exactly how to do everything yet. But they had a budget of $6 million, and their DP was Anthony B. Richmond. I'm just gonna name some of his other works.
Okay.
The Sandlot.
Okay.
Legally Blonde. Good Luck Chuck. Employee of the Month. Dumb and Dumber. So like, and he's been active since 1967. So they have experienced people. I think because the cinematography in this movie is like pretty good. It's pretty okay.
Yes and no.
There are some parts that are not good.
There are. So the cinematography in this movie I had trouble with, because there are some times I'm like, the quality of it looks really weird. Like it looks, I don't want to say like camcorder style, but it had that same thing where I was like, the frame rate is too high right now. Like it feels very flowy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not to mention some shot choice. Well, see, the shot choices, I can't give it shit for like having basic shot choices, because it's a comedy. Like I do the same thing. I'm like, yeah, you can get basic coverage, and it's fine. That's not the focus of it.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking it, but it wasn't like
it was nothing great.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it needed, because what they really wanted to rely on were the jokes, which unfortunately aren't great either. One big problem with this movie is that you're a road trip sex comedy that's coming out in 2009.
Yeah.
Like, and that shit was over in like 2002. I feel like if this movie had maybe come out during like the Eurotrip American Pie era, it would have done a little bit better. Even by comparison, those movies aren't that great.
Right.
And the biggest problem with those movies is they're incredibly sexist
Yeah.
and
Which
predatory.
it very much is.
And so when you combine those tropes with whitest kids humor, which is stupid for the most part, and also occasionally sexist, you get something that's like really bad.
That's what. But the thing about this one though is that I felt like the saving grace of this was the whitest kids or was Zach and Trevor and
No, I agree. Because one
and
thing,
Horsedick.mpeg.
and yeah, dude, .mpeg.
That
Everyone is trying so their best in this movie, which you can tell because
Yeah.
Zach is fine, Trevor's fine. Like they're just playing characters from Zach is being Zach, Trevor's being Trevor.
Yeah.
Like no one's breaking their archetype. But I just think a lot of the jokes were in poor taste, and that's how
Yeah.
I feel about a lot of their sketches now. Just because like how the whole thing with Candace and how she's epileptic, I was just like, oh, that's really lame. Like those
Yeah.
are that's
Yeah,
a-
it's a forced thing so that you can sorry, it's I don't know, a disability that is just forcing the obvious joke that is like, oh, a strobe light's gonna come out of nowhere and she's gonna have a seizure and do something like that, and it's just like, okay, we got it.
what I don't like about this movie is how the only thing that's keeping them going is like her firefighter brothers, which
Yeah.
I think would have been a fine thing to add, but what would have made this movie a lot funnier is if there were consequences for everyone's actions, because technically Trevor
Yeah.
kidnapped someone from a hospital.
Yeah.
If I feel like if there was a part where like he
They
got
got-
like
he got
arrested and
arrested,
had to go to jail, I think that would have just helped the story a lot. I just if it just kind of feels like a series of just like scenes that
Yeah,
have
a series
no
of things
that have no
don't-
consequences.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just the whole. Well, first off, I will note that like that was one other thing that I actually thought was funny about the movie was this weird stereotype in the movie that firefighters are fucking crazy.
No, dude, I thought that was
really
funny
thought
too.
that was funny.
Or I also love how Trevor's character is the only one who's just like, dude, like
Yeah,
fuck firefighters,
Yeah,
dude.
like, yeah, he was the only.
He
And everyone's
thinks they're
just
like stupid.
yeah.
He's like, oh, so look, the firefighters are here.
Yeah, and then they see him. That's why see him's like,
Oh no, the
look, dude,
firefighters.
the firefighters are here, and they start booking.
Which I think is like that's when the whitest kids humor like shines through. Just
Yeah.
something dumb like that, where it's just like firefighters are crazy and like they throw axes at people. Like all the jokes that aren't like comedy tropes are super
exactly.
funny. Like when so Eugene falls into a coma on prom night when he says he's gonna have sex with his girlfriend
Yeah.
because Tucker gets him drunk and he falls down
A
some
staircase.
stairs, and so Tucker wakes him up by hitting him on the head with a baseball bat, and then there's a whole thing where like Zach falls over and he shits his pants, which isn't funny at all, and it was also that part was shot very poorly. I'm gonna say that, but Tucker's explaining what happened, and because Eugene was like, "Oh, I just remember it was prom night." And I was going to have sex, and I fell down some stairs. And Tucker's like, "Yeah, man, you got to watch where you're walking."
No,
I
I
thought that was real. I like just little lines like that. I thought were really funny.
I know you don't think poop jokes are funny. To me, him like shitting wasn't necessarily funny. What I thought was funny was when the doctor talks about it. Was when he's just when he's talking about, he's like, oh, and then when Tucker's just like, oh yeah, and then you woke up, I hit you with a baseball bat, and then you shit all over the floor. He's just like, yeah. It was a lot of poop. It was like 4 years of poop. Like
Yeah,
every
dude.
time he said, when I saw it the first time and when I saw it now, I died at that.
Shout out to Cedric Yarborough from
Yeah, dude.
Reno 911.
Fuck yeah.
Hilarious.
And then Horsedick.mpeg, he's one of the saving graces of this movie.
Craig
Craig
Robinson,
Robinson.
did fantastic in this movie with
even-
what he was given.
Yeah, but even when it comes back when it's shooting the music video with he's like, suck my dick while I fuck that ass, it is still so fucking good. It's so funny.
Downloaded on iTunes. I downloaded "Suck My Dick While I Fuck That Ass" and also "I'm a Fuck a White Bitch."
Yeah.
Because
But the clean
Horsedick.mpeg
version, I'm a love a white girl
Yeah.
too. So
So, and Craig Robinson's character is like one of their friends from high school who's like a rapper. And in the beginning of the movie, he's not that famous. He just has a song on the internet,
Yeah.
which I thought was funny because he picks up Eugene for the prom, and he has like two like women next to him, and one of them's like, Horsedick's got a song on the internet, and Zach's like, wow, the internet.
And he's just like, you know how many people are on the internet?
And then he blows up 4 years later.
Yeah. So it's the whole thing where they use him to try to get into the Playboy Mansion because he's like one of the biggest stars, or the biggest celebrities.
Side note, did you notice the Anthony Jesselnink
What?
cameo? Because right
Hold
after
on.
they finished the music video for
Oh
Suck My Dick,
yeah.
well, I fucked that ass. He comes in, he's like, dude, yeah, real hip hop is back. And it was just like, that was Anthony Jesselnink.
Yeah, I had to think about who that was for a second, but yeah, when I saw him, I was just like, I couldn't remember his name, but I'm like, I know that guy. He had a show.
Dude, yeah, that's
I know.
yeah, he had the
100%.
Jesselnink offensive.
Yeah, that's right. But that's what I'm saying. That's the thing about this movie is that there are some parts that I actually thought were funny.
Me too. Me
Um,
too.
I'm trying to remember.
I thought it was
another
also
one.
one scene I liked when they're at the gas station and Tucker leaves a voicemail for Candace.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that that's one shot. And he's just like, hey, so I'm not mad
Yeah.
at you because it's just like I guess it's my fault, but
But
you
you're
also
the one who
bit-
bit me. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and how he just comes out of that thinking that like, yeah, that was good. And then he immediately comes out, it's like, so I patched things up with Candy. He's like, you let the fucking voicemail. You didn't do shit.
Also, did you call me your boyfriend? Because we've talked about that.
Weird.
Weird.
Yeah. So like again, little things sprinkled here and there, but I think the reason why was because it was Trevor Moore and Zach Kreger.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and
They only have like that humor, which I think is one reason this movie didn't do super well. Because I didn't read any reviews for this movie of when it came out, so I don't know if any of them had like the context of like who they are. Because
Right.
they were on Fuse, then IFC, which were not very big networks at the time,
Yeah.
and so they didn't get a ton of exposure. Probably more in like the New York and Los Angeles area, because
Yeah.
that's
That was the other thing is that like I don't think anyone knew who they were. Like they were
Yeah.
the leading people, and it's just like even me being a huge fan of Wise Kids, I'm like, no one knows who these people are. Like I don't. How are they selling this movie?
Yeah, and they also they had a budget of 6 million altogether. So how big was their
Damn.
advertising budget? Probably minuscule, because they had to pay a really experienced crew, and like
Mhm.
here some of the producers, a couple producers only produced Playboy things because all the stuff with Hugh Hefner were reshoots.
Oh.
Because they originally shot it with an actor, and then they showed a rough cut to Hugh Hefner, and he liked it, so he's like, "Oh, I'll just do those scenes."
Yeah.
So we have a couple producers of The House Bunny and Hef's Runaway Bride, but one of the other producers, well, there's two producers for Whitest Kids You Know. So there's two producers from that, and then another one is Tom Jacobson, who produced Ferris Bueller, Flashdance, Uncle Buck, Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So like big movies. Oh, and this
Yeah.
is Fox Searchlight as well. Fox
Yeah.
Searchlight, same as Sunshine.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was funny. When
But
I saw.
but I think if they had maybe like 2 million extra dollars, maybe the advertising would have been a little better. But it's like, I remember seeing commercials for this. They always showed the scene where the woman falls out of the bus window.
Yeah, which again, that scene I still think is funny because
What I didn't like is she opened the window and there was no sound change.
oh well, you know what?
That bothered me.
You know what? Whatever.
But yeah, and
Small
then she just
details.
falls out the window, and then I like how they spent like an extra moment of Trevor just processing that.
Yeah.
Because
No, that's what I thought was funny is that
20 seconds
yeah,
of silence.
that was the biggest thing I thought was funny is that he's just kind of like his face was shocked because she's like stripping down, and then I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when she falls out of the window, his face is still in the shock mode. Like he doesn't change his face. His face is still like shocked Unless he does. I feel like he kept that face the whole time.
It changes a little bit,
Oh,
and then he
okay.
just goes back in.
He
He's
just
like,
kind of closes.
I'm going to sleep. Haha, she made you tired.
Yeah.
That's Horsedick.mpeg's line.
Yeah.
No, because like for every joke that I chuckled at, there were like a bunch of
There were like five offensive
jokes.
things.
Yeah, but honestly, like I can't say I hate this movie. I can't even say that I wouldn't rewatch it. I would never watch it by myself again. This isn't like, oh, I'm gonna pop in Miss March
Yeah, it's just
today.
something that you're like, hey,
But it's like a time and place type of thing. I feel like if I was high, I'd be like, yeah, I'd be like, all right, and I also feel like, I don't know, one of the main consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is that it was poorly made, which I don't, which they had $6 million and the movie looks fine. They had a lot of fire trucks. I feel like they used their budget the best that they could.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
Yeah,
shows
I
like when
agree.
they're in the limo and they just have curtains
Yeah,
over the windows.
I agree.
That was a little bothersome, but it's like those are minor details in a movie that's supposed to just try to make you laugh. And that's its
Yeah.
biggest crime is
I-
that it's not very funny.
I think that too, that it's for the budget that they had, because I didn't know it was $6 million, but for the
Six-
budget that they had, I feel like they did everything with with the best of their ability, because there wasn't ever anything I was like, that looks cheap, that looks
Yeah,
like a little different. Like, it's like, no, they frame things correctly so that they can get the shots that they needed, and I mean, for the most part too, I didn't think that, besides Hugh Hefner, I didn't think anybody was a bad actor.
Hugh Hefner was nominated for a Razzie.
Yeah, he was fucking awful.
Yeah, he was bad.
But everyone, I felt like, did a good job, and was working with the material that they had, because there's some type of parts where Trevor Moore, like, when he's trying to be sincere, it just doesn't come off the right way. But I think it's because of, like, the script was just,
it's really out there, because
Yeah.
it's just like this movie takes place on another planet, because
Yeah.
Tucker's literally about to be decapitated by fire
Yeah.
fighters in front of the Playboy Mansion. Like, there's gonna be zero consequences,
yeah.
and then he's just like then he gives like this half-assed apology, which is like, Candace, like, I've got my things, but like you also like have this weird thing with strobe lights. And
Yeah,
she's like, it triggers my epilepsy. And he's like, yeah, see, that's stupid.
Yeah. But it's the whole thing where, yeah, again, this, I mean, we could talk about the sexism in it just a little bit, but it's like that whole thing where it's not trying to say, like, oh, you have faults and I have faults. It's just like that. Okay, you're still seeing this woman as an object, and you're still seeing,
Yeah.
because his line specifically is, "You're the last person I ever want to bang," and I'm like, is that supposed to be
Nice, because it's like,
romantic?
it's like, oh, you're just like this sex crazy character, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why this movie would have done way better in 2001, but also not that great.
And also, I think the biggest, what's the word for it? The biggest crime against one of the female characters was Cindy.
Yes.
Like, because obviously the whole movie's supposed to be about her, which she's in the movie for like
10 minutes maybe.
Yeah, like
15.
10 minutes. And it's, so what I feel like is the biggest crime is that, like, you see it right off the bat where, like, Eugene and Cindy are abstinent, and they go to like little seminars where
they host seminars.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was funny too.
Yeah. Oh, no. That was the other thing too, where it was like when they were showing. Okay, actually, there is a line in that I died when I laughed at. It was talking about the crack of, like, the baby set the house on fire because it was a crackhead.
Oh,
I thought that line was so funny.
did you notice the very bad ADR with that line? Because originally because crackhead is ADR, because originally they used the R word. So every time they say crackhead, it's ADR. And dude, you can
I didn't even.
you can see
notice.
in the movie she mouths the R word, but you hear crackhead. Like, they show her saying the R word, which I thought was very poor. It's like, just cut away.
Or yeah,
Just cut away.
and also just, yeah, that's a good call that they changed it to crackhead. Which, even then, that's, I mean, that's a little bit different problem, but it's not like complete.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some problems with it, but like I just thought the idea of the baby setting the house on fire was funny.
Very funny.
So that whole thing I thought was, and then you can even tell that Cindy's character was conflicted with like when Eugene was saying like, "Oh, we've decided to remain abstinent," and she's kind of hesitant. She's like,
"Yep."
"Yeah," and then I mean, what I did, okay, this is me trying to find something good out of this whole thing. I did appreciate that Cindy was the one that was
Initiated.
like, I really want to have sex with you because I love you. And I'm like, okay, cool. It wasn't reverse. It wasn't like Trevor trying to convince Eugene to do it.
Yeah.
He was convinced by her, and he did it because he also feels the same way. But of course, that's his confliction.
And it's like he's also just nervous. Like he's
Yeah.
got also. I cannot. Trevor and Zach do not look like high schoolers.
No, well, of course not.
I know. One of my notes was
There's some dogs barking.
got some dogs barking.
There's probably some people showing up.
Yeah, one of my notes is everyone who is supposed to be in high school is clearly 47. No, but yeah, that's what I like because like that's Eugene's call to action from Cindy, which I thought was really good.
Which I thought was a good thing, but that's the most we get.
And then what really pisses me off is Eugene treating her like shit
when she comes
when he finds her. Like it.
And granted, every time he does that, the fucking bouncer just socks him in the face, which I was like, okay, cool.
And she's like, "Will you stop it?" He's like, "Sorry, it's just I really hate it when people disrespect women." It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that guy, cool, good. He's a good guy.
I didn't like, but I guess like Eugene had to like learn his lesson. But that's just another thing with the movie. Like, why did you go there?
Yeah,
Just
no,
to yell at her?
exactly. There was no like. Well, he even said. I mean, he said himself. He's like, I don't even know why I came here. Closure, I guess. But it's like it's the whole thing where. I'm just gonna say like this movie doesn't pass the Bechdel test, but there's one thing where it's like even when it's supposed to show like why she did why she modeled it to begin with was because she was using that money to pay for his hospital bills, and it's like, is everything you fucking do for this guy?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, like why don't you just be a model and just be a model because you fucking like it and Eugene can suck it. Like, see, if it ended with just like, no, this is who I am. I like this job. And Eugene's like, whoa, fuck you. And it's like, okay, cool. Happy endings for everybody.
Yeah, it would have been better if Eugene just learned to accept her. Because like I feel like they just never explained, but Eugene I think is a conservative Catholic. With the way he treats women.
I would take that, yeah.
Because he's just like, she's like, where have you been all these years? And she's like, working. Working is what? A whore.
And then I was get socked.
Yeah, and I forgot that part of the movie when I first watched it, but I'm like, oh, I just want to punch you right now. And then he gets punched, and I'm like, okay.
Thank God.
And it's like, okay. And then it's one of those moments where it's like, okay, Zach and Trevor, as writers, are aware.
Yeah, I think that I'm pretty sure that was written in. Because
Absolutely.
And that's the funniest thing. Okay. Trevor has this thing, and it kind of resonates when you get to the Playboy Mansion, which is funny because like every teenage kid is thinking like, oh yeah, fucking Playboy Mansion is like, just women displayed as objects and stuff like that. That's where you go. And then Trevor and people there are like, no, don't disrespect women. This is like they're choosing to do this, and we're here as, I mean, I guess support. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why people are there, but it's just like once you're there, you realize that everybody there, even though like women are like just walking around with their tits hanging out, they're just like, no, we still respect them. It's their decision. And even Trevor has that aspect where when Eugene is trying to say, like, oh, why do you want to go to the Playboy Mansion? It's just like I don't know what he calls it, but he essentially refers to like a whorehouse type of situation. And then Trevor, or Tucker, I keep saying Trevor, just goes all out and says like, how dare you refer to it like that? And it's just like, where the fuck is this respect when you're out with other women?
I know.
I don't understand the duality where it's like he wants to be like Hugh Hefner, which again, that's the whole point. He's trying to learn something from Hugh.
Yeah, they do the mall rats thing where Stan Lee talks to Jason Lee. He's like, "I'd give up all these comic books if I could have one afternoon with this girl."
Yeah.
They pull a mall rats.
Yeah, but even then, he doesn't even really like. He didn't even really like teach. God, oh, It's not. It's just kind of coming back to me. Hugh Hefner didn't even teach Trevor that. Tucker. He didn't even teach Tucker that because all he told him was, that, hey, if you found the right somebody, then you should hold on to them. When he really should have said, hey, I respect women, you should too.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest thing is that they say like, oh, there's like a quote that Hugh Hefner said or somebody asked him like, oh, asked him like how many bitches have you slept with or something like that. He's like, well, first of all, they're not bitches, and he said something like that. It was just pretty much was trying to say like the reason why he is the way he is because he's like he respects women, which I don't really know if he actually does. But...
Oh no, he doesn't.
Okay.
Well, he didn't.
He didn't.
He's dead now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's fucking dead. And he's
he?
He died.
Dude,
I'm pretty sure he died. This is gonna be really embarrassing, but he is a piece of shit.
Hugh Hefner dead? I don't even. Oh yeah, September 27th, 2017.
Oh, dude. Okay, I'm looking at my notes right now, and when he's talking to Hugh Hefner, and he's just telling the story. Tucker's telling the story about Candace and like about the strobe lights. And one line I laughed. It's like, "Oh, that's why she had that seizure, and I stabbed her in the face a bunch."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "I'm gonna call security now."
Yeah.
And then he like looks through his camera footage and sees he made up with Candace, and he's like, "Let them in! Damn it! Let them in!"
Very unconvincingly and with a tear in his eye.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I also don't like how this movie just stops. Because it ends with Eugene and Tucker in the Playboy Mansion taking shots, and he's like, "Oh, Cindy's upstairs right now."
But yeah, well, it ends because it's supposed to show that it's gonna happen again.
I just felt like the movie like decided to stop.
Well, no, yeah.
I wish they would have thought of something better.
Okay, but
that's just my thing.
But you got it right.
I mean, I understood it. Yeah, I understood why they did it.
The same way that happened at prom.
Yeah, I understand it.
Okay.
I just didn't like it.
Okay. I mean that's fair. Is there anything else you want to say about this that you want to talk about? Just all the characters were all the women characters were objects. Trevor's a bit inconsistent. I feel like Eugene was the only consistent character.
No consequences.
Horsedick.mpeg doesn't have a dick.
And then the whole explanation my mom was on acne medication. I was just like, that wasn't funny.
Yeah.
I didn't even smile.
He could have just said nothing.
He could have just been like lots of people don't have dicks.
That would have been funny.
That would have been true. That would have been a lot of people do in fact not have penises.
Women.
Well,
or just people without penises, because some women have penises.
Yes,
but
I don't think there's much else. I think if they had a chance to make this after like maybe season 5 of Whitest Kids, because maybe they wouldn't have even done it. One thing, because if you listen,
or they could have made it like a commentary on the situation.
Yeah.
Oh, this was if I had one major issue, it was the lesbians.
Oh my god!
The way that was portrayed, like why even have that?
I know,
because first off, it's not funny.
No.
It's extremely problematic in multiple ways when it comes to sexuality and sexism. But then,
they actually hold on. I know that they won, so they. Sorry to stop you.
No, it's okay.
But they have 2 award nominations. One was for Razzie nomination for Hugh Hefner as Worst Supporting Actress, and they were also nominated from the EDA Female Focus Award for the Sexist Pig Award.
Nice. Okay.
Which I think is
Well deserved.
Well deserved, definitely.
Because that
That's what did it for me.
yeah, that was when it was just like, you do not give a shit. Like you do not, the writers, which again, it's one of those things that if Zach and Trevor like really cared, they could have cut that out, because then the only other use they have later is that like
Picking the
one
lock.
of them picks the lock by sticking her tongue into it, and it's just like that's just not funny. Like,
No, it's and then just like how the joke is like just calling them lesbians. Like, oh,
Yeah.
lesbians, let's go. And that is a thing in their other scripts because and the one that they wrote about the Mars movie, they meet all these male strippers
Mhm.
that Trevor's character only refers to as the twinks,
Eesh.
which, you know, also is problematic for different reasons.
Yeah.
You know what? That's not a defense of the lesbian thing.
See, but if you go, but it's just like also like twinks, you can just call them strippers. Like just call them, if they're male strippers, just call them strippers. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but
Like, because it's also, that's what they are.
yeah, well, that
That's-
was never filmed. That was only that's not what we're talking
That's a
about.
whole nother song and dance.
But yeah,
okay,
no,
well, that's pretty much, that's all I wanted to say
Yeah, that
about
was
that movie.
just
IMDb gave this wow. IMDb gave this a 5 out of 10.
and that's also what I give it.
You have a 5 out of 10?
I give it cuz it barely it's a little below the minimum,
Uh-huh.
but I know cuz now I have like I feel like I'm in a special position cuz I have all this context to how like Trevor and Zach feel about the movie, and since
Yeah,
I've been able to see them.
I need to listen to that.
Yeah,
Is
you
it
should.
very insightful?
Zach, yeah, they only talk about Miss March in each one for like maybe 5 minutes, and they're each like over 2 hours long. But
Okay.
Zach is definitely critical of just his work in general, and he said that like he hasn't seen the movie since like the premiere,
Right.
and he wasn't a big fan, and he kind of just said he was saying like you spend so much time editing it and like writing it and working on it that by the end you just hope that someone else likes it and that it goes well.
Yeah.
And then Trevor kind of feels like he said that he thinks some stuff works and that other stuff doesn't work at all, which is true.
Yeah.
And I think and they've definitely grown as like comedians and
Most definitely,
artists.
yeah.
And what was good about this movie was it was only $6 million. It made $4 million, so it underperformed, but it cost so little money that it didn't really kill their careers because
their profit margin wasn't that.
because Zach is like he was on TBS's Wrecked. Trevor like produces shows for the Disney Channel.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
thought that was the weirdest thing.
Crazy.
Because I know he's trying to do like more shit, but
He has a successful stand-up career.
yeah, Trevor has like actually a really interesting resume that I would just not have expected. So kudos to both of them. They seem like they're still doing pretty well.
Yeah, and I don't know, like they made a movie,
Yeah,
which is impressive by
a lot of
like
people.
by a lot of ways in my book. And
Yeah.
like there were times when they didn't try, but then there were times when they did, which is more than I can say for other movies that I.
Yeah.
So
All right.
5 out of 10, a really hard 5 out of 10 for me.
I'd have to give this a 3 Playboy
I think that I
magazines out of
understand.
10. And I was teetering between 2 and 3.
For sure. Understandable.
I think the only reason is just because I do really still love Trevor and Zach and
all the other
and
whitest
Horsedick
kids.
and the horse. Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, but in the movie, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But but Craig Robinson also saves this movie. So
Oh yeah, he was great. I want to know how they got him. Well, it was 2009, so he wasn't huge yet.
Yeah,
but he had like
he likes to just pop up everywhere,
which
I've noticed.
is cool. On his Twitter, like in his like bio, he's like .mpeg.
Really.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, because like I feel like this, like I don't know. Like you're the only whitest kids fan I know who saw this like when it came out in theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
funny.
because I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, I don't even think. Yeah, no. I'm the only one of my friends who has seen Miss March like throughout high school.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like the biggest Whitest Kids fan. Everyone was just more like a fan of their hits.
Oh, right.
So
They
to
just watch the
speak.
clips on YouTube or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. No, like I was fortunate to where like my group of friends that like when I first discovered Wise Kids, like I'm still friends with them today, and we actively quote Wise Kids. Like we've sat down and watched like entire seasons before, and it's like we're both like both as in like me and one of my other friends probably just a bit stronger than everybody else, but we're all just like huge fans of him. So it was most definitely like we saw the movie because we were Wise Kids fans.
Yeah, and I feel like they probably would have liked the movie, like more fans that saw it at the time when it came out, because it's like they get it, but also Whitest Kids humor at that time wasn't good for a movie.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was
Unfortunately.
but oh well. Well, that is that.
Yeah,
is that it?
I think that's it. I think
All
that's it
right.
for this episode. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
We will be back with
Another one.
somebody else. Somebody else.
Yeah, we're gonna have another person for the next one.
Yeah, it won't just be
So-
us two yammering. We'll have some other IPN people. So
So
stay tuned
keep
for
your
that.
ears open and your eyes on the sky. This has been shit. We're gonna work on these.
Oh,
Bye,
the
everyone.
sky. Is the movie in the sky?
I don't know. I don't know.